We're going to be covering a really important question in this week's Ask Anwen. And the reason it's really important is we're talking about mental health of the team or well-being of the team. And the question that came up was around, how do I balance the line between remaining really connected, compassionate, demonstrating empathy as a leader, but where's the line for me crossing over in terms of maybe being more like a health professional or a family member? How do I get into a place where that feels positive for both me as a leader and also that actually I am providing the right level of support from my colleague? This is what a conversation I've had a lot with leaders in the past. Like, I don't feel comfortable maybe, but also kind of it can be quite treacherous. We're talking about somebody's health, somebody's well-being. Quite honestly, the starting point is to remember is you are not a health professional, unless if you are in a health profession, but in the capacity of having conversations with your team, you are not there to fix the situation. Now, where you might need to step in and fix is where perhaps the working environment or relationships within the working environment are contributing to that well-being issue with the colleague. So this is about where we now step into a place of thinking about the conversation, the type of conversation you need to have with somebody, and being mindful of the boundaries. So what does that look like, and what should that feel like for you and for them? So first off, you need to be thinking about the conversation that you're going to have. Is this something that you are bringing up because you've noticed it and you're concerned about somebody's well-being? Or is this the individual that's coming to you and kind of declaring that this is a situation that's happening for them? If it's something you're identifying and you're concerned about and you're bringing that forward to them, so make sure you're having a good think beforehand about what is it that you want to share with them. So view this as feedback to start with. I'm noticing X, Y, and Z. Tell me a little bit more about what's going on there for you. Have I noticed that correctly? What your thoughts around that? Give them an opportunity to contribute to that conversation. If it's the other side and the colleague has brought that issue to you, if you're part of your normal conversations or because of a specific issue, they are identifying to you that they are struggling with their mental health or well-being in some way. Start with questions like, what is it you need? Now, is it a case that they are not well enough actually to be working at the moment, and therefore how do you handle that side of things? And remember to talk to your HR support or whoever that might be within your organisation to support you to make sure you've got all the information you need about managing that in the right way. But that key question around what is it they need? This isn't about you stepping in and fixing everything, but there is a space that you as the leader need to look after them whilst they're in your care. And you do have a duty of care towards them, especially if anything they're declaring is being kind of impacted or relates to the working environment in any way. You are not expected to fix this. You are not expected to be a counsellor. You are not you're not having to be there to be the person of sole support for this individual. Look at signposting. So make sure you've got access to all the information that you need. And again, trying to get prepared for this stuff is a really positive thing to do. Make sure you've got really good access to resources and support services available to help somebody within your team if they are experiencing a challenge. That doesn't mean that you don't want to listen. Create the space in one-to-ones over coffee to find out how they are, to talk to them and provide to that support. You don't want to be a robot. You don't want to be putting a wall up. This is part of the relationship building piece that's really important for effective and positive relationships with your team. But you aren't a counsellor. So where there is a need for additional support or there is significant medical help required, make sure you're signposting towards GP, counselling services. If you have an employee assistance programme, making use of that as well. You're there to provide support. You're also there to provide the right kind of challenge and direction. If that individual isn't taking proactive action to help themselves and it is negatively impacting on them in the workplace, it's your duty to them and to everybody else in the team to continue to kind of have that conversation with them about them taking action. So for me, those boundaries are around being clear around where the conversation is coming from. Are they sharing something with you, or are you raising something with them to then explore further? Please provide the support that they need. Signpost them where they need to, and provide that listening support where is valuable and is about the relationship building and continuing to support that person. But make sure that you're not feeling that you're stepping into a space that is trying to fix something that you can't, or maybe you shouldn't be. So that's where you should be starting to think about that. If you need some support, talk to people within your organisation who might be able to provide some help. So if you've got a HR team, or if you've got other people who've handled these types of situations, very much worthwhile you doing that. So I'll see you next week for another question getting answered. If you've got your own question you'd like to ask me, then please follow the link in the comments.